Welcome to the Beginning Game Programming with C# course. I'm Tim Dr. T. Shamillard. I'll be your instructor for the course. I'm an associate professor of computer science at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, where I actually teach game design and development courses. I'm also the program director for our bachelor's degree in game design and development, and I spent 5.5 years as an indie game developer in a company I started with my 2 sons. So, why Dr. T? Well, I teach an awful lot of freshmen, and freshmen are used to coming out of high school where they have called their teachers Mr. Jones or Mrs. Smith or something like that. And so, it's important for my students to realize that I am not Mr. T, I'm Dr. T. So, yes, that's me. No, that's not me. I have 3 core learning objectives that I want to cover in this course. The first one is for you to learn basic programming stuff, independent of game development, understanding how computer software works, including the really, initial basic stuff. Then, we're also going to talk about object-oriented concepts. We're going to discuss classes and objects and how those things work together. And that's really important in the game development domain and lots of other software domains because games in particular are very well suited to that paradigm. And finally, we have a course objective to actually learn how to use XNA, which is a Microsoft game framework, to develop games. So as we go through the course, all the modules, I've broken the course up into smaller pieces, all those modules are intended to build toward you meeting these course objectives, learning these things. How is the course structured? Well, it's an 8-week course, and there are 7 weeks of new material, and then the final week I have an optional game project that you can pursue if you'd like. It's a great way to get ready for the final exam. And then at the end of that 8th week is the actual final exam. Your grade is comprised of 3 different components. There are 6 programming assignments. Each of them is worth 8%, so the programming assignments add up to 48% total. There's a required project that you'll do in 5 separate increments because we build games incrementally. But this is a little more challenging than the programming assignments because it's a larger project, and you'll build a small, complete game. And you'll do it in 5 different pieces, each of which is worth 6% of your grade. And then finally, there's the final exam that's worth 22%. There is also optional work. So really, the way to learn how to program is to program. Not to hear me talk about it, not to watch lectures, not to listen to lectures while you're watching something else, but to actually do it. And so in addition to that required stuff, I'm giving you a whole bunch of optional work to do, to practice, because that's what it's all about, is practicing. So that optional work consists of 17 different labs and an optional game project for that final week as you're getting ready for the final exam. The other thing is that we have a course game. So I worked with 3 of my game design and development students at UCCS, and over the course of a couple of months, we developed a game that you can download and play. And so you work your way through the game and you answer questions about whether or not you did particular assignments. And if you did, of course, you win gold and you get pieces of story and there are mini games to play and so on. So if you're interested in seeing what a small team is capable of over a few months, you should download that game and play it. And hopefully it will motivate you to do some of the optional and, of course, the required assignments as well. There is a book for the course, and I wrote it, just full disclosure, so it's strongly recommended. The book covers lots and lots of material that I have no time to cover in lectures, so if you really want to understand all this stuff, you should go buy the book. It's available at Barnes & Noble and Amazon. There are free readers for both the Nook and the Kindle if you happen to not have those devices. But I do want to be clear. You can do this course successfully without the book as long as you're willing to spend a lot of extra time digging around on the web trying to figure things out. I wrote the book specifically for this class. So, it covers the material in the same order, in the same way, just in much more depth than the lectures do. Couple of administrative things and motivational things. If you need to navigate the course as you will, there's a toolbar on the left of the Coursera course page, and you just click on the appropriate links to navigate around and find the things you want. This course doesn't assume you've ever programmed before. If you're an expert programmer, there are going to be lots of pieces of this course where you'll be either nodding your head or nodding off because you already know it and you've known it for years. So you might want to go look for a more challenging course if you've actually done a lot of programming in the past. If you've never programmed before, that's great, because we're going to start at the very beginning, and I don't assume you've ever written a lick of code ever, and so we'll work all the way from the very beginning. As I've already mentioned, but it's worth repeating, actually programming is the only way to learn how to program. And so you really need to do the programming stuff if you want to learn. If you just want to watch the lectures and sort of soak in all the jokes, I'll throw some in now and again. If you want to just do that, that's fine, but you shouldn't expect that you're actually going to learn how to program by doing that. You actually have to sling code. It is normal to be frustrated as you're trying to learn how to program. Lots of things seem confusing. There are lots of times when it feels like you have it just right, but you don't because it's not working, and that's just a normal part. It's a normal part of learning anything new. But if you've sort of never struggled with anything before, be prepared. You might have to struggle a little bit with programming to get there. That's natural. Everyone goes through it. And finally, there are places for help, right? Now, the web is always a place to go get help. And so you can do that, but understand, of course, you may not realize this, but everything on the web is not truth. Some things are wrong. So be cautious, be sort of critical as you think about what people are telling you to do. I've actually had a student who came to me with a program that wasn't working, and he had done something exactly opposite of what I had said. I told him in class, it says it in the book, and he came to me and he did it exactly wrong. And I said, why'd you do it exactly wrong? And he said, well, I found this on the web. Someone said I should do it this way. I might be a more credible source for a lot of this information than a random person on the web. So, use your judgment. But the other thing is the course has a forum built into the course page, and you should use that a lot. There's some great functionality in that forum. You can vote answers up and down, just like on Stack Overflow, if you're familiar with that. If you're not familiar with that because you haven't programmed, that's great. You'll find out about Stack Overflow. But it's a great place to go and get help from each other. We've got a lot of students in this class, and so it's not the same sort of lots of attention from the professor kind of thing. No office hours, you can't call me on the phone, sending me emails won't work. So you're going to be helping each other through. So get on the forums, ask each other questions, and make sure you read the Coursera Code of Conduct for forums before you start posting. I mentioned that in the syllabus as well for the course. So, be nice. You can be mean to people in online games, camp out for the noobs and headshot them when they enter the level if you have to, but this isn't the place for that. This is the place for actually helping each other get through. Okay, hopefully I didn't scare you too much. Programming is a blast. It is a lot of fun whether you're programming games or something else, but of course I love to program games. So you have this opportunity to learn this really cool thing that's a very rewarding thing, and I hope you stick with it. Next time, we'll get right to work. So I'll see you then.